Nobody tells you that grief doesn't end, it just changes shape. And one day you're standing in your kitchen holding a pen, realizing you still have things to say to someone who can't answer back. That tension, the unfinished conversation, is exactly what broke me open, and also, eventually, what put me back together. I didn't plan to write the letter. It happened the way most desperate things do. At 2 in the morning, with cold coffee and a notebook I'd been avoiding for months. There's a reason therapists have quietly recommended this practice for decades. It's not mystical, it's neurological. Because the act of externalizing grief onto paper forces the brain to organize what it otherwise loops through endlessly, like a song stuck on repeat that never reaches its final chord. Writing creates narrative, and narrative creates distance, and distance not forgetting is actually what healing feels like. I started the letter the way you'd start any letter, with "Dear" and then the name. And I almost closed the notebook right there because seeing those 2 words together made it unbearably real. The structure matters more than people think. So I want to walk you through exactly how I built mine, beginning with gratitude, moving into honesty, then apology, then the things I never got to say, and finally, what I promised to carry forward, because without that architecture, the letter risks becoming pure chaos, which feels cathartic for about 45 seconds and then leaves you worse off than before. Think of it like a house. Grief is the storm outside, and the structure of the letter is the roof that lets you sit inside it safely. Grief researchers like George Bonanno have found that resilient mourners don't suppress emotion, they engage it deliberately and then release it, which is almost a clinical description of what this letter asks you to do. The passage that cracked me widest open was the apology section, where I wrote, "I'm sorry I thought we had more time," because that sentence isn't just personal, it's the universal sin of everyone who has ever loved anyone, the assumption that tomorrow is guaranteed. Writing it down transformed a vague, ambient guilt into something finite, something I could look at from across the table rather than carry inside my chest. You can include memories, and you should, not to perform nostalgia, but because specificity is the antidote to abstraction, and grief gets dangerous when it becomes purely abstract, I sealed the letter physically, with an envelope and everything, and that act alone triggered something I didn't expect, a kind of ceremonial finality that my brain interpreted as closure, the way a period ends a sentence and gives the reader permission to breathe. Then I read it aloud, alone, to no one, and also somehow entirely to them, and my voice broke exactly 3 times, which felt like the right number. Reading something aloud that you've written in silence does something almost absurd. Your own words become foreign, more true, as if hearing them in the air gives them a weight that ink alone can't hold. What followed the letter wasn't peace. Exactly, don't let anyone sell you the fantasy of instant emotional resolution, but it was a loosening, like the first real exhale after holding your breath underwater for a very long time. And I went to sleep that night without the usual argument replaying in my head. The letter didn't erase anything. It just gave the grief somewhere to live besides inside me. Here's the misconception worth dismantling directly. Writing to the deceased is not denial, it is not delusional, and it is not a sign that you haven't accepted the loss. It is one of the most neurologically coherent things you can do with pain. And the fact that it sounds unconventional is frankly just a failure of our culture's imagination when it comes to mourning. If you want to try this yourself, keep it simple. Give yourself an hour, a quiet room, a real pen, real paper, and give yourself full permission to say the ugly things alongside the beautiful ones. Because a letter that's only beautiful is a performance, and you're not writing for an audience. The goal isn't poetry, the goal is honesty, and honesty at the right moment is its own kind of medicine. Discipline in grief looks like choosing to feel it structurally rather than chaotically, and the letter is the structure. If any part of this resonated with you, I hope you consider picking up a pen, and if you like the video, subscribe and check out all our other topics.